if you know me, I've been on Roblox for quite a while. Not as long as everybody else has, but definitely quite a while. The thing is, this is not my first account. I originally started playing on Roblox, I don't know what year, but on an account named Horsehead22. I don't know why I was named that, it sounds like some random Xbox generated name, but that was the name I went with. But the thing is, if you try to look up me in the player list, I am nowhere to be found. Just a bunch of random people here. But that's none of the matter, because I still have the memory of what games I played. And that's today's video. So basically, I plan on going into all of the old Roblox games I played before and seeing how they stand the test of time today. I definitely can't guarantee that they'll all be the same, and I know for certain that most of them aren't. But still, it's nice to go on a little nostalgia trip to see what's going on. But for that, I think it's appropriate that I switch back into the original avatar that I made. That's right, this little guy. I don't know what I was thinking, but then again I was like, what, 10, 11, 12 when I made this avatar? I didn't have any Robux at the time, so I just did whatever was good, I guess, with the free items, and I guess I really like the Jurassic World headphones and backpack because I constantly wore those. Plus I got like the little default smile with the glasses and the blonde hair. It's kind of iconic and I just, couldn't give this up. I actually have some old footage of this guy, but I'm not going to show any with the sound on because, well, let's just say that there was a reason my account was deleted. Somehow I was the baddest little kid on the block and, that got me a ban. For good. As far as I'm concerned with my younger years, I was greatly influenced by the YouTuber named Flamingo, and in this specific clip I was trying to troll in a boys and girls hangout, but then again, as a kid, I had no idea what I was doing anyway. But all of that is none the matter. It's time to go back on a nostalgia trip. I really should have created a portal for this, give me 1 second. I genuinely debated modeling my own portal for this, but I'm too lazy to do that, so this is what I came up with. Alright, now that we got our portal working, it's time to hop through into our super nostalgia zone. There's a lot of games we can choose from, but I think we're gonna start with just whatever's here first. And that's Lumber Tycoon 2. This game really has stood the test of time because it's exactly how I remember it. I have 3 save slots on this game, but I'm gonna go with the first one because that's what I remember playing on. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, there's a bunch of junk on this one because my base glitched out this one time and I had all of the max slots, but I didn't really have the money or items to cover it, so it's just a bunch of junk laying around everywhere. This game has a tendency to be filled with hackers sometimes, so I did manage to get a bunch of duplicated axes and tried to sell them through a shop. But over time, the big base filled with junk just wasn't doing it for me, so I decided to create a second slot. With this base, I was actually more focused on playing the game as it was intended, as the original experience for me had been ruined by hackers. There's also a small memorial for my friend Beef, whose account was permanently banned. I'll never forget your kindness, buddy. Not only did this game encourage exploration, but also problem-solving skills, and encouraged critical thinking. Now while that may sound silly, this was really engaging for me as a child, as figuring out the wire logic was like discovering redstone for the first time. It honestly made me feel really smart when one of my little wire creations would actually work how I wanted it to. I would even go so far as to make my own silly inventions, like this dynamite sawmill, which actually does work. I think the reason why I love this game is because it was only challenging when you wanted it to be. You could have a chill playstyle and work with what you're given, or you could go the lengths to travel distances and find better trees. It also consistently gets some seasonal updates, and it's always fun to come back to it during those times to see what they added. It's a game that's really easy to get into and good for all ages. Even my dad, who's over the age of 50, still loves to play this game. It was also super fun to find all the little glitches that could help you throughout the game. And despite most of them being patched, you still find some things every now and then. Overall, Lumber Tycoon 2 has stood the test of time, and I would say that it is still a great game today. Continuing with the theme of sequel games, we now turn to Theme Park Tycoon 2. I had a pretty big park, so it's going to take quite a little while to load all of it in. It's not as big as I remember it, but I was just a small little youngling back then. I also remember hiding a bunch of secrets underground, and especially with the little teleporters. The entire park's theme was inspired around having different types of biomes, with each area having its own theme and ride. I really liked the way that you could customize your park, including the way that you could customize your rides. And being able to build your own track was just so much fun as a kid, and honestly the idea is still fun to me today. I think the only major challenge in this game aside from money and managing your park was unlocking different types of rides. There are many different types of unlockables you could get, with most of them being tied behind in-game achievements. In the back right corner of my park, I also have a wall of amazing people, which is kind of outdated. I also ran a little mini game in my park called the Button Challenge, where people could press buttons to activate lights to earn prizes. If I'm being honest, I only know where like half the buttons are anymore. Being a kid who loved roller coasters, this game was just perfect for me, and it really captured the essence of being able to ride rides. And I especially loved the realistic first person whenever you got into a ride seat. It was almost like I was actually on a coaster. The amount of customization this game has really allows people to express their creativity. And although this game may seem challenging for newer players, it is still pretty easy to understand, and not hard to get the hang of. Overall, I think the game has remained the same, even after all these years. Not much has changed, and they haven't added vastly different content either. It's still the same theme park game as it always been. And in the end, I think Theme Park Tycoon 2 has stood the test of time. Next up, I'm bringing back a hood classic, Zombie Rush. I always preferred Zombie Rush over the other game, Zombie Attack. Initially, upon loading in, I can already tell that some big changes have been made, as the lobby is completely different than what it used to be. The maps themselves seem like they haven't changed a bit though, which is a nice touch because they were very well made. The most notable thing that I see right away is a UI overhaul. Damage indication and health bars have been completely changed. Although it's not like its classic counterpart, it is a bit more visually pleasing and informational, which can be helpful for newer players. It also seems like they've added some equipment, like grenades or explosives that can help you take out hordes of zombies. It looks like they've added bosses too, which grant a bunch of XP when defeated. I see this as a good thing because it provides a challenge with a good amount of XP as a reward. There may have been a lot of changes to this game, but overall it's still the same premise. You're fighting endless waves of zombies to level up and fight even more zombies. And with that, I would say Zombie Rush is another game that has stood the test of time. And of course, who could ever forget the game Horrific Housing? I remember playing this game quite a lot, although, being honest with you, I was never really good at it. The lobby, although small, has remained basically the same, even after all these years. Obviously with a few different seasonal changes, but of course that happens. Unfortunately, the newer UI changes locked me into this first person, and I couldn't get rid of this stupid UI thing until the game had actually started. I was frantically trying to get it off my screen, but my mouse would just continuously lock to the center. Not a great start for a nostalgic game review, I will say that. The game then finally started, and I was able to get it off of my screen, meaning I can actually play the game without a disadvantage. I'm reminded how ruthless the players in this game can be, as I'm promptly chased by this girl with a laser gun. I managed to make my escape and get my revenge, as I'm granted a hammer to bonk players' heads in. I try to go after this guy with a motorcycle helmet, but he gets lucky as he's granted a force field after I hit him once. And soon, my own luck runs out as a murderer is announced, and it just so happens to be the guy with the force field. I think this is why I didn't win too much back then. The mechanics of this game are essentially the same as what they were before. Survive crazy events and do what you can to be the last player standing. This game gets decently frequent updates, so it's kind of hard to tell what changed, but they've kept a lot of the same game in here. Even though it's not exactly the same as how I remember it, it's not different enough for me to dislike it. So this game gets an okay from me, and I believe it's another game that stood the test of time. And for our final game in this video, we're going to Mad City. But unfortunately, the Mad City that exists today is not exactly the one I remember. But luckily for us, the devs actually released an old port of Chapter 1, and this is essentially the OG experience for me. And just listen to that sick intro. Absolutely fire. And because this is an old port, the devs have given all the game passes for free. Even though I bought all of them in the original game, it's still nice for new players to experience it like I did. It looks like I've still got it though, because the way I waste this cup shows that I'm an absolute beast on the block. After escaping prison and flying over the city, you can tell that the map is essentially the same. All the heists are the same too, except with the addition of the mall, which was basically planned from the beginning anyway. The heist gives good money, so I'm not gonna complain about it at all. You really do get hit with a wave of nostalgia upon coming back to the criminal base. As you can see here, they did add these ice weapons, but they're just reskins of already existing weapons, so they're just completely cosmetic anyway. There's also this avatar editor on your phone, but there's only a select few things to choose from. It doesn't really change the game in any way. I have to admit, I had a 2-week Mad City phase where I came back to this game and honestly grinded the heck out of it. That's why I'm level 151. I always preferred Mad City over Jailbreak purely because of the hero aspect of the game. If you kill a hero, you can get a power and become a supervillain. I also think that the UI was just so much better for this game than Jailbreak was. It's just a lot less clutter on your screen. I also think that the combat in this game was a lot of fun too, but I think they really ruined it in Chapter 2. Although I will admit there were some cheesy ways to kill people in Chapter 1 as well. I guess in both instances, nothing is ever truly perfect. Overall, as long as you're only talking about Chapter 1 and not about Chapter 2, I would say the game has remained basically the same. Not too much has changed and you're essentially playing this game like you used to. So for the final game of this video, this one gets another A-OK from me, as it still stands the test of time. And now, I think it's time to return home. Overall, I want to say that I'm pretty happy with how these Roblox games turned out today. And of course, there's more games that I'd like to cover, so if you guys like these videos, I'll continue doing them. If you guys have any thoughts or opinions, or even game suggestions, let me know down in the comments below. But that's all I got for this video, so in the meantime, stay crazy everyone, and I'll see you next time.